right? And I realized, um, I said I didn't want to do stuff anymore, but I've been following these and doing these read throughs of these letters for a while now. And I don't know, I thought I would come in and continue to do what I've been doing and just read through these letters. These are the producer production letters for Action Game Maker, and I've been, I guess you can hear it in my voice. I'm, I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that's going to get pissed. I thought you left. I thought it was over. I thought you were done or whatever. I don't know. I'm fed up and I don't want to try as hard anymore. Um, I don't know. But I'd been covering all of these and I didn't want to stop covering them, so I'm just going to go ahead and cover these. So this is producer letter 5, and it's about animation. Hello everyone, Action Game Maker producer Moreno here. In this 5th producer's letter, I think it's time to cover animation. Action Game Maker uses similar logic to how Pixel Game Maker MV used animation, in that each action can be assigned an animation. However, in the older tool, you either used our custom animation function or imported an SSPJ file created with Optipix Sprite Studio. Yes, Sprite Studio. With the new engine, all animations go through Godot's animation player functionality. Or Godot. Overview of Godot's animation player. Godot, whatever, animation player is based on a modern timeline format using tracks. Tracks. I wonder if they're going to have like, okay, hear me out. In music tracks, when I make covers and whatnot for my music of like games and stuff, it's possible to have an intro to the song and then a portion that loops. So if this is working using a track, is it going to be possible to have an intro to an animation and then a part of the animation that just loops? So you have the one part that plays only at the beginning, like you start to walk. We'll say that. We'll say, oh, you're starting to walk. And then it goes into the portion of the animation where you are walking, and it just loops that portion. I wonder if that's going to be possible. Anyone who has used a video editing program should be familiar with this system. Bezier curves. What is a Bezier? Anyhow, curves and easing as supported, and creating rich animations without the use of another tool should be possible. So you can do a lot and you won't have to use Sprite Studio. That's what it sounds like. I could be wrong. Anyone who has used a video editing program should be familiar with this system. Curves and easing as supported, and creating rich animations without the use of another tool should be possible. This applies both to sprite-based animations and bone-based animations. All animations we have shown so far are all made using the animation player's bone system without use of an external tool. So I can use bones within Action Game Maker, Godot, without the need of an external tool to do bones, because that's cool. All animations are shown have been using animation player bone systems without the use of an external tool. Additionally, Godot nodes can be placed into the animation player as an additional track to make changes to node properties during the animation. I wonder if that alludes back to what I was suggesting a while ago, in that maybe you can have an intro, an introduction to the animation that only plays once, and then the other part that loops as you move. Would be great if you could do that. Players are tracked to make changes. This means that position and rotation information, scale, color information, and many other elements can be updated directly within the animation structure. So what does this enable for users of Action Game Maker? Improvements over Pixel Game Maker Envy. What was difficult is now possible. Animated cutscenes. Really? Animated cutscenes. How about that? That's cool. In Pixel Game Maker Envy, you needed to script up a complex sequence of events in order to create an in-game cutscene. With the power of Godot's animation player, creating in-game cutscenes with lots of animation should be a much less complex task. Mid-animation particle effects. Particles are represented by a single node in Godot. So simply adding the particle effect node to the timeline as a track and then assigning the start time is super simple and makes it much easier to accurately time the effect start and stop time compared to Pixel Game Maker MV. There's more to it than that. Okay, so there's one thing that I've been messing with in Godot. It's with particles. You are actually able to use animation frames for your particles. What does that mean? So in Pixel Game Maker, if you use a particle system, it's really just the one static image or whatever static image you apply to the particles. And this is, I guess this is cool. I guess that's cool and all. But if you want something more dynamic looking, like say you want something that looks like explosions everywhere, pow, 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 all over, like just, you know, pow, 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 all over like an enemy or something before they are defeated. You can use particle effects in a way that just has like the flames just sort of going through a couple of frames of animation. If you've ever played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, a lot of the enemies have what basically looks like a particle system for the flames that burst from the enemies. Almost. I say almost. So some enemies, the flames that burst from the enemies will kind of be all over the place for the explosions before an enemy dies. Godot is capable of doing this. So it could show randomly these particles that pop in and then go through a frame of animation until the end and then disappear. That is something you can that you can do with Action or not Action Game. I don't know if they're having that in Action Game Maker, but I know you can do that in Godot. So if you can do it in Godot, you should be able to do it in Action Game Maker is what I'm trying to say. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they can correct me on this. I will post the video on the Discord and see what they say, basically. That does look cool. That looks very cool. Can you click this and get a better look? Yes, I can. Huh. Timeline like stamps or something? I don't know. It's more complex. God, that's, you know, it's cool and all, and I should be excited, but I'm also dreading it. I'm also dreading it. Oh, wow. So you can attach parts to this. Is that what it's saying? Like you have these different frames all together for an animation. So you might have two separate graphics. I don't know. Yeah. That's cool. That is cool. Oh, so particles can be part of the animation. Okay. Okay, cool. Parameter inheritance from animations. I see my clock over here. From animations. Not only can you update node parameters directly within an animation, those parameter changes, are retained at the end of the animation and thus carry over into subsequent animations. So it's not it's now possible to easily make an animation where a weapon is dropped, a facial expression changes, or even hair color is changed based on game events without complex scripting. When you combine this functionality with graphics filters, there is a lot of variety and versatility available easily to any user of Action Game Maker. Well, that's because it's based on Godot. It's based on Godot. It's an altered version of Godot. I'm still not super happy with the UI and everything in Godot, but I am going to give AGM a shot. I'm hoping they have like a way to try the software just long enough to see if I can get used to it and that I like it. Because I don't want to spend money on this if I end up hating it, you know? Otherwise, it's going to be a repeat of Pixel Game Maker where I wait for a discount. I haven't bought like RPG Maker. I think it's MZ. I haven't bought that one yet because I don't know. I'm waiting for a sale at a price that I think it's worth. Shaders in animations. Oh yes, 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 yes. Oh god. Okay, yeah. Yeah, look at that. The wave effect. Oh my god. I got a question. Can you apply the shader wavy effect? Can you kind of apply kind of an effect like that in the scene, in the scenery to like a background or a layer? Because if you can do that, and I think you can, because I've seen a few games made with Godot that have that, then you could have the thing like on the Super Nintendo. Hear me out. Hear me out. On the Super Nintendo, where there was this thing where you could, if you were in an area where it was hot, some developers would use this sort of effect, kind of like this, to slowly wave the screen in the back to say that it's real slowly to say that it's hot. It also represented water and stuff. There was all kinds of stuff they did with that to spruce up visuals. I'm hoping that's possible in Action Game Maker. It should be. I haven't delved too deeply into Godot because I'm not a programmer. So I didn't see a point in diving too deep when I'm not a programmer. This is for the advanced users, but of course Godot has full shader support via scripting. A shader can be added as a track to the animation player, so there's really no limits on what kind of effects you can use in Action Game Maker. Yeah, so that should be a given. In fact, I mentioned this early on in the Discord. I kept saying, look at all the stuff you can do with graphics. I mean, there are literally plugins, I guess you would say, or something like that, scripts that you can use for the shaders to apply a CRT filter, a very convincing, really cool looking CRT filter, by the way. So if you're one of the people like myself who want to give your game an option to have CRT filtering, yeah, you can do that. 2D bone animations, collision movement. As each bone in an animation is a child node, each bone can also have its own independent collision detection. So this makes it easy to have tracked and controlled collision dynamically updated through the animation. And of course, connection points are available to easily control projectile generations. Good God. I'm sorry, I don't like how this looks. Oh God. I hope it looks better in game. Like, I don't know. Um, I mean, it's cool for people that want to use that. I'm more traditional with my animations for the most part, so I like doing frame by frame and just having the character move how I want. But the bone system is cool. Here's what's cool about a bone system. Here's what's cool about a bone system. Let me explain something to you. A bone system is actually great for enemies. Hear me out. If you've ever played Castlevania games, especially on the DS, there are these large knights. They take up, you know, the full screen on the, and there's the DS collection of Castlevania, Dominus collection. If you've ever played that, there are these large knights that will be in these rooms that you'll come into, and each part of them is basically moving around in such a way because it's almost like a bone system. I feel like you could recreate those kind of enemies in Action Game Maker using the bone animations. So it might not be great for your character that you have running around through the stages, but it would be great for some bigger enemies. And I think this will simplify some things, because I've actually been trying to work on some stuff in and here I'll show you real quick. This means the video, of course, is going to be kind of long, but let me show you something I've been doing. All right. And I'll tell you how it's going to be easier to do with the animation system in Action Game Maker. It'll be a lot easier. Oh my God. So I replicated something. I replicated the door functionality from games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and of course all the DS, and I think even a couple of the Game Boy Advance games where the doors do that thing where the doors look three-dimensional and they open up from the side. I figured out a way to do that in Pixel Game Maker through some trickery, and it's basically two objects together animating in tandem, and it looks three-dimensional, but it's not three-dimensional. Okay, so it's not three-dimensional, but it looks three-dimensional. So real quickly, I'm going to show you what I've done here. These are the doors right here. This is the door, the side of the door, as you can see here. This is the side of the door. And then, of course, we have the actual, like, door. So, we have this right here. Yeah, see how that opens from the side? It kind of bends out like that, right? Okay, it doesn't look 3D now, but when you use that in tandem with this system right here and have it fold in while the other folds out, and I have it basically connected to a connection point on the on this right here. So right here is the connection, and then, well, that's the right. It's to the left. It'll be looking a bit better. So yeah, see, that's the connection point that connects a different object that uses this this side door. So when one graphic basically folds outward, the other one folds inward, and it makes it appear three-dimensional. And it's a little trickery I figured out. Well, this kind of trickery will be far easier, I believe, in Action Game Maker. So let me show you what I've done here. Oy, if I can get this going. Oh yeah, we started in here. Hey, you know what? This is good. The fact that it starts right here and you can see this. You can see this for yourself. This will help you to understand what I've done. Just go out this door. You go out the door. I'm having some collision detection issues with my dude, go out the damn door. Go out the damn door. Wow, there's something very wrong here. You gonna go there? He went out that door. There we go. See the door? Watch. You see what I did there? Let's go back out. You go out. Yeah, there's collision detection issues. See how the door closed? All right, so it's literally two objects that are placed together, basically being told to stretch in two different directions, connected at a connection point. So it appears to be a 3D door. It appears to be a polygon, but it's not a polygon. It's just my own trickery. There we go. Went out that door. And boom. See? Little trickery. Whoop. Replicating what they do in other Castlevania games. Boom. Door closes. Got this enemy right here. That's another enemy I could recreate more easily in Action Game Maker. So notice his arms. See how his arms are moving? That's because he's made up of three different objects. His two arms are actually made up of two different objects that are being told to move back and forth, while his middle section is the main object. And then I just kind of tell it all to work together. Ta-da! So that's really cool. You could also do something. See, the same thing was done with these skeletons. Those are all like several different parts that I put together. I had to use several objects, which is ridiculous. There we go. There we go. Another problem I'm having, or that I couldn't do, and I had to use a weird particle setup, was for these guys. His particles are made up of several different particles for his head, his rib cage, everything, because it's just, there's not a lot you can do in Pixel Game Maker. So His head goes flying off and everything, but not really. It actually just generates a particle for the head to go flying off. That's all it does. As you can tell, I'm very good at what I'm doing. I'm very. Oh, I don't have a sub weapon. Good thing I haven't implemented those yet. There's no sub weapons around here. I should add a sub weapon around here, but I haven't yet. It's just hearts right now. Gotta love my pixel art. It's not amazing by any means, but I think it's pretty good. Some of these are assets I took from other games. All Castlevania games, but I took the assets. All right, let's go on to the next area. There we go. There we go. But a lot of what you're seeing here done is way more complex than it should be, is what I'm trying to say. And my hope with the Action Game Maker is that a lot of what I've done here that took a lot of work is more simple to do in Action Game Maker. What are you doing? Go through the damn, like I said, there's an object right here. He's supposed to, when his X is equal to the X coordinate of the object, he's supposed to just move. He's not moving correctly. Why is he not moving correctly? There he goes. He went right that time. There is some problems with Pixel Game Maker, admittedly. There's a lot of problems with Pixel Game Maker. A lot of problems. Now, one thing I wanted to do early on was shadow effects. I couldn't get it to work right and animate correctly, so I took it out. Now it's just sparkles from it. Hey, look at how well that works. Like I said, I'm pretty good at what I do. Yeah, a lot of stuff that's just here is just kind of placeholders for testing. Ow, you bitch. Throwing his bones. There we go. Oh yeah, so I also made an axe, and originally it had a shadow, but I got rid of the shadow because the shadow effect wasn't working right. That's the other thing I need to know about is the after. It's called an after image effect. How well is that going to work? Oh yeah, the motorbike here. That's a good example. That's the other example. I made this motorbike right here, right? Well, the two wheels are actually two separate objects. This is three different objects right here, and they're basically put together. I have a separate animation for this thing where it kind of bounces and the wheels are spinning. That would be a lot easier in Action Game Maker. That's just an example. Like I said, this video is going to end up being a lot longer, and I apologize, but I wanted to use an example of what I have to do in Pixel Game Maker and how it should be much easier to do using things like bones, or the fact that you can throw things together in a single thing. Like you can see it right here if you look at it. This stand right here is a separate piece of the animation. It's not one whole solid piece of animation. So you have the two down here. If you look on the timeline, and I've used video editors, of course, you know, being a YouTuber. So you have these two guys, and it's all one object, but it's all separate pieces of an animation. Sprite 2D. So you have this doing its little thing right here. It looks like they have it set to stretch out. Let me look here, or something. Yeah, it stretches out. It changes and stretches, and it's pretty cool. A goal. I like the goal. I like this idea for a goal sign right here. It's cool. I would put the flag on the outside of it, though. Having it to where you see that over that is... So I could make my motorbike within the animation with different parts, as opposed to having to use literally 3 different freaking objects. It's ridiculous. And I'd be able to do different. You see, in a way, I'm excited for Action Game Maker, but I'm cautious. I guess at this point, I'm cautiously optimistic, but we'll see. Anything can go bad, can go wrong. So the 2D bone animation, too, is going to be very useful for, I'm thinking, for enemies that I make and whatnot. It's going to be cool. These are only examples, of course. Godot's animation player is richly featured, and when combined with Action Game Maker's additional functionality, should allow for a lot of creative uses. However, there is one unfortunate limitation that has resulted from this change. While this is generally a much more versatile and capable toolset compared with Pixel Game Maker MV, Action Game Maker will not support the importing of OptiX Sprite Studio SSPJ format animations. Despite the release of Sprite Studio Player for Godot, Sprite Studio animations are not supported due to a variety of technical issues. We understand that some of our existing users have gotten very skilled at using it, but we ask for your understanding on this matter, as the Godot animation player does not provide or does provide mostly equivalent functionality, and it does. When you look at the bone thing that's going on here and all the other stuff that it can do, the different pieces for a character, I don't even know what this is in this image. Something moving around. I don't know what that is. Do you really need that? If you have the assets still, you can just have to remake the animation in Action Game Maker. These are only examples, of course. Godot's animation player is richly featured, and when combined with, okay, unfortunate full despite the release of the studio, we understand that some, yeah, because I was saying this a while ago, gotten very skilled at it, but we ask for you to understand I think most people would understand. I think people would understand. I mean, what's theirs? Like they said, it's very feature rich. So you don't actually need Sprite Studios, formatted little SSPJ files. You can literally just recreate what you were doing, which I like that more. I don't want to have to buy another piece of software. I never messed with Sprite Studio or whatever because it costs money. So I never messed with it. So, also, while configured sprite animations cannot be imported from Pixel Game Maker MV, the sprite sheets are compatible and and setting up sprite animations in Action Game Maker MV. I mean, Action Game Maker MV is expected to be. Did you just add the word MV? I think somebody got confused. Setting up sprite animations in Action Game Maker MV is expected to be a quick process. Why is there an MV there? Somebody got confused at one point. Quick process. And that's all for this letter. I'll be back in December for the final letter of 2024. Thank you for your continued interest in Action Game Maker, and we look forward to sharing more information soon. Okay, great. This is great. It's great. This is great. It's great. It's great. I kind of had a feeling. And like I said about particles in Godot, in their animation system, particles can actually use frames of animation. I looked this up a ways back. I looked it up. So you can literally tell each particle to run through a few frames of animation. So, like I said, if you have an animation that's, exploding and goes through frames, but you have it just kind of randomly popping in and out all over an object by way of particles, much easier to do. And I would expect you'd be able to do that as well in Action Game Maker. So yeah, almost 30 minutes long. Again, I know I'm confusing the hell out of my viewers, but I couldn't resist talking about this. I'm looking forward to this to an extent. I'm cautious, like I said, cautiously optimistic. I'm a little annoyed though, because it is based on Godot. It's my understanding they're not changing anything from Godot. Like, apparently there's a way to customize all this, and I hope somebody releases a tutorial on how to adjust the UI to your liking, or to make a custom UI. Somebody needs to explain that, or show some stuff you can use to maybe because I love Pixel Game Maker's UI. I can't get past it. I love this UI. Let me go back here for a second. I love this. I love having everything separated. Like, I don't want everything crammed in on one area. And there's no real problem popping between these two. Sometimes initially there's a loading. Initially there's a loading, but then you start to bounce between them and it works fine. It's just that initial opening of your software and then using. See, it doesn't take that long. But I like that everything's kind of separated into different tabs. And that's what I want out of Action Game Maker. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what's going to happen. So I don't know. It depends on the asking price of the software. It is pretty annoying, but we'll see. So, what are your thoughts? Again, I'm sorry that I'm confusing my audience. I, I've been covering this for a while. I didn't want to stop covering it because of my issues. Um, Otherwise, I just don't like being here. I don't like going through things. YouTube stresses me out. It stresses me out beyond comprehension. I'm so self-aware right now, and there's another word I'm looking for. It's not self-aware that I'm looking for. I mean, self-aware is one of the words, but the other word that I'm looking for is just like, when you realize things about yourself, and you're very aware that my house is ugly. Everything's ugly. My YouTube production is terrible. I look like such a fool. Like, it's terrible. It's horrible. And I'm so ashamed of it. And I used to get pissed off at people and tell them it was, it was them, that they were just assholes, which, yeah, a lot of them are assholes, but a-holes, I should say. But they were right that my house needs cleaned up. But, so I don't mean to confuse people with this video. I'm sorry. This is a one-off. And I'm recovering because I hurt myself. Not intentionally, but I did hurt myself. I was cooking and I splashed scalding hot water on my stomach. And there's a huge wound on my stomach. It is so horrible. I would show you the freak show, but I don't want to make people sick. It's bad. My belly looks like a burn victim, basically. My belly looks like I'm a burn, which I am basically a burn victim. I got nearly third degree burns, so I'm recovering from that. So sorry. Roundabout way of just saying sorry for confusing people. I'm not back. I just wanted to keep covering this. If I do come back, it's going to be a while. Like, when I come back. Still not completely in the right place and in the right mind. So tell me what your thoughts are. I think this is great. But I kind of knew a lot of this stuff already because it's a lot of things that Godot can do. And this is basically Godot with their own added features. So, all right, this has been the Goof. I rate, comment. I would say subscribe, but I'm not doing much. So have a good one.